the gifts have always worked through me in a way like this, and I assumed it would be the same with everybody else. And it's not. The more closer I get to God, the more I hear from him, the more the gifts function and work. The farther I get away from God, the less time I spend with him, the less I hear. Now, I assumed that would be the way it would be with everybody. In fact, when I backslid, I left the church completely. You folks have heard this. If you think I'm a perfect man, you need to watch my testimony. In fact, I'll put that right up here for you. In fact, folks, some of you still don't get this. When I go like this, there is going to be a card that comes across your screen at the top. It's there for just a second. You click on that and you go watch whatever I'm telling you to go watch, because I think it's relevant for you to hear it. When you click on that, this video stops. A new window opens and you begin watching that video that I point to. If you click on the card, if the card goes away, you can still click up at the corner again and get it through the entire time of the video anytime you want to watch it. When you close that window, you come back here, you resume exactly where you left off. You don't miss a beat. So any that worried about where I left off at, it starts wherever you click that. New window opens, watch the video, shut it, come here, you resume. Just want to make sure some of you get it. I know you don't. Anyway. So I didn't get why I've seen other people who I know, who I thought I knew weren't really living right. John Paul talked about it at one point too. Stumbled across one of his videos one time, and it made sense. And in fact, it does make perfect sense. You can be gifted and God will give you a gift. I'm glad my gift doesn't work like this. I knew when I backslid and I left the church and everything, my gifts didn't work anymore. They completely shut down. Nothing functioned whatsoever at all. The gifts still weren't working. But as John Paul talked about, he saw happen. And as I tried to talk about with my ex-pastor or prophet that I'm bringing on, I didn't get why other people's would, and I knew their lives weren't right. John Paul talked about it. He says, you're given a gift, and you're given a gift. The gifts and calling are without repentance, folks. They don't go away. You know, God calls you to something you are called your entire life. You can reject the call, but, that's stupid of you. Happens, though. Happens with certain people. I could tell you some names that it's happened with. And they're not alive today. And the gifts are the same thing. The Holy Spirit gives you a gift. John Paul said when he saw this happening, he questioned God, and here's what God told him. You're given a gift you can hear. John Paul would call those revelatory gifts. Those are things like the word of knowledge, prophecy, discerning of spirits, to where you have to hear, otherwise you wouldn't know. That's what he would call a revelatory gift. There are other gifts where you don't have to hear anything, like the gift of faith. You just all of a sudden have faith, and you have the faith to get whatever your prayer is. The gift of healing. You don't have to hear anything to have the gift of healing work. You can get people healed. It's nice if you have a word of knowledge and then healing works, but those are two different gifts. You don't have to have the gift of healing work with a revelatory. It's not a revelatory gift. Makes sense? There's people who classified the gifts. John Paul was one of them. Having a revelatory gift, you can hear. But I didn't understand how people why their gifts didn't shut down when they would leave the church or get away from God or whatever. I didn't get it. So I questioned like my ex-pastor. He said, it's like, yeah, you're given a gift. I'm your dad and I give you the car and I put it in the driveway. You can get in the car and drive off and leave. The car is still yours. John Paul said it in a way to where people would hear from God, and if they leave, their antennas are still working. And eventually they're going to start hearing from the other side. And the other side will talk too. I'm not going to get into that, but you better know they know how to talk to you too. Demons will talk to you just as loudly, though you're not hearing on the right channel anymore. And as this one pastor or prophet said to me, and I've never forgot it, God works through imperfect vessels. So I'm thankful that my gifts shut down, and I expected everybody else's to be the same. And I thought, okay, the closer you get, and it is true, the closer you get, I've watched my gifts activate and activate and activate, and I less prayer, all that stuff I start forgetting to, and they start shutting down. So I assumed everybody else's was the same. But I've noticed not everybody else's is the same. I've seen people fall away. This is the dirty part of the church. This is the backstage part that people don't really want to listen to or think about, or they think they got it all figured out. I've talked about, I can sense when people have a gift, a revelatory gift. My wife really can. She can read you and all kinds of things. She'll sense things and on a different level. I don't really want to get off into that part, but the point is to where I would see that I knew their life wasn't completely right, and yet, as that one man said, God will use imperfect vessels. Folks, listen to me. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, and nor are you. And those of you think you are, you really aren't perfect. You think you got your nose stuck up in the air and you're snobbish or whatever. You don't even know you are half the time. You are the last thing from perfect. And people don't understand when it comes to these gifts how they still will function. Well, that man's life isn't, or her life isn't perfect. You aren't either. And every day people sometimes will struggle, and I've been through it too. To where there's been sins that I just wanted to get past and past. I can do, and we got to go back, but to where I've had to go through issues. And you know what? As long as I regretted it after I sinned and said, God, I don't want to anymore, and I'm sorry, please help me not to, I want to stop. My salvation wasn't taken away then. I was still saved, needed forgiveness, needed Jesus to help me and to carry me, just like he does with some of you. And some of you, in fact, I think I'm talking to some, you're having issues and you have problems, and you don't know how to get past it. And you find yourself falling and falling and falling. You haven't lost your salvation as long as you're repenting, trying, God, help me, please. The gifts are the same way. He don't take them back just because you fell or because your life is messed up in an area or something. Do you understand? We're consistently growing. I mentioned at one point Rick Joyner, and people had all these issues with some of the things he does. Great. I can tell you the man has a prophetic gift. He may be getting some things wrong, but I'm not going to go sit and study the man. Did he have this right, or did he do that right, or is he wrong there? If the man is gifted, then he's gifted. And I know he has a prophetic gift. There's some people like that, and there are areas that their life is messed up, and I know some of you don't want to hear it. You don't want to get it. You just don't want to understand it even. God uses imperfect vessels. Uses imperfect vessels. And we try to grow, and we try to get past it. But he gifts, and those gifts that he gifts us with, they don't go away, nor does your salvation, as long as you're trying and sticking next to him. We don't understand all the time. There was a man I told, it's on the internet now. In fact, I told my wife about this several years ago when I thought it might happen. When the Chiefs would hit the Super Bowl and win, apparently, according to Bob Jones, and apparently, and I don't even know what the problems are. Apparently he had some problems too. I don't know. I don't want to hear it. I'm not about to go trying to find out people's faults. Everybody has faults. But I knew the man was gifted, and I've seen some of the things he said, and I knew that the man was gifted. That's all I knew. And one of the prophecies that is said that when the Chiefs would win the Super Bowl, which apparently last time they were at the Super Bowl was 50 years ago. I thought it was about to happen several years ago. I told my wife about it. I said, if this happens, this is the year that revival comes. But yet what Bob Jones didn't hear, and I got to say this, because apparently stadiums are going to be filled and that kind of thing, and other people have seen this too. Listen, what brings revival? We're just going to have revival? My battery doesn't got too long. Revival is just going to happen. Stadiums are just all of a sudden going to be filled for no reason whatsoever. That's the part of the prophecy that Bob Jones said when the Chiefs hit the Super Bowl and won that year supposedly. And I would take this prophecy as credible, folks. I don't want to hear about how perfect you think he needs to be or where he's messed up in his life. I don't care. The man was gifted. That's the point I want to bring out. And I've seen how it works in the church. I've seen some backstage stuff, folks, that I don't want to talk about. Nobody's perfect. But you can see the Holy Spirit and you can see the gifts function. Okay? That's what I want you to pay attention to. But the part I'm wanting to bring out is not necessarily the prophecy. It's the part that Bob Jones didn't see as to what I want you to figure out why. If the prophecy is true, and I think it is. I really think it is. I trust in the man's gifts. I trust in the gift. Not the man, but in the gift. Okay? It's like this man I'm going to bring on. If he says God said, God said. Oh, I've nitpicked through him left and right, up and down. If God said something to the man, you better bank on it. And I have that kind of faith almost with Bob Jones and his gifting. The gifting. That's the part I want to bring out. So you want to sit and tell me, you want to sit and post down there, well, he had this and that. I don't care. I'm talking about his gift. Now, there are people out there who have no gifts at all and are trying to make prophecies. We got the coronavirus thing going on there. We got the Wormwood prophecy, folks. They don't even understand what they're even talking about. And we're putting a lot of stock in this stuff. My first revelation after I was gifted, I fasted and I prayed, and the very next day after I got in fasting, after 7 days on that one, I had a gift. One of the gifts manifested. That actually I had several gifts of function over that entire week after the day after I got done fasting. That's those 7 days. And they were all gifts that I was seeing him operate on. Shortly after that is when I had the very first revelation called the graph. My very first revelation. I wrote, actually the first half of this book is on the graph. And I had a direct word from God on several aspects of it. Very strong words. One of them had to do with the trumpets. So I want to start talking about the coronavirus. People are looking at. Jesus talked about pestilence, and so did John in the fourth seal of Revelation, which is in chapter 6, the fourth horse. We are looking at and waiting for some sort of disease or pestilence to hit us that supposedly might be what Jesus referred to, or what the fourth seal might be, which is the same as what Jesus. They line up. What Jesus said is the same thing as Revelation chapter 6. And the fourth thing he said is the fourth seal. Pestilence. They're the same thing. So we're looking for some sort of disease that we're going to say that this is it. We're so close, or this is what we should be looking for. And folks, there may be diseases out there, but the coronavirus has absolutely nothing to do with what Jesus was referring to. I can tell you that as a matter of fact, and I know it. I know it. One of the words God gave me was when it came to the graph, when it came to the trumpets, every event, every subsequent trumpet was the result of the former, or all were the result of the first. Did you hear what I just said there? In fact, listen, folks, I'm going to put, you ready? Right up there. I'm going to put the first 9 chapters of this book. You can watch for free. Just watch them and watch the series, and you'll understand how these trumpets and the seals and how they all work and how they lay out and how the plagues are and all this stuff, how it's all tied. I need you to watch it because I don't have time to explain it. I'm not going to explain it in here, but I'll give you a little bit. I want you to give some hints. We sit and hear these teachers say, well, we have some viruses all in this one little pocket of time. The 70th week, we're going to have all these different random events. We got meteor showers coming down, supposedly in the first trumpet. So we got meteor showers coming down. Then we got the sea turning to blood. No, I mean, how is the sea turning to blood? Nobody seems to know. Then we got this meteorite coming down, and we're going to have diseases hitting us. All these different random events, famine just coming out of nowhere, folks. If you understand, which we seem to ignore, because we can't. I brought on people, or at least I've talked about people who've seen prophets who've seen, like David Wilkerson saw, America's going to melt. And few are going to escape, according to David Wilkerson. A. Allen said he saw America on fire, being nuked. Missiles coming out of the water. And America was on fire. We forget about this war thing. We don't even understand that. We're not even giving it any credit. So maybe there'll be some war. We put that off aside. And then we got famine. Why? Look at this. We're going to have famine. In fact, one preacher's saying, well-known preacher saying, we're already having famine. We're not having famine yet. When we have famine, oh, you are going to know it. Oh, you'll know it. You'll be like, wow. This is the famine. The prophet that I'm bringing on, you know what he saw? And again, he used to believe in pre-trib. Keep looking at my battery, wondering how much longer I got. I don't got much. He said he saw the entire East Coast scorched. Scorched. He called it a wasteland, too, when I was on the phone with him the other day, which is the wording I use. I wanted to say something. America's going to become a wasteland. I've never heard anybody else say that ever anywhere else. And the entire East Coast, the land itself, was scorched. He didn't give a reason why, though he has the reason. And I'm going to save that for when we start talking to the man. And we don't understand. We're not understanding this war. It just sounds like it's just going to be a war. Well, sure, there's going to be a war, but this is called the Third World War. The Third World War that we're going to have is going to be unlike anything we have ever seen, and it's going to be via nukes. And we seem to forget what are the results? What are the effects of a nuke or nukes, folks? You want to know why there's going to be famine? Because according to the first trumpet is the effects of the second seal. A third of the green grass and trees are going to be burnt up. But we sit here, it's apparently some sort of meteor shower coming out of heaven. Hail is going to be on fire. That's not what the verse says. There is going to be hail and fire mingled with blood. So the fire is mingled with blood. People in that fire. But such a fire that it's going to take out the trees, third of them, and the green grass, and the grass. What kind of fire takes out people and is so just engulfing this and take out all the grass and the trees? Come on, people, figure it out. This kind of fire also would produce hail, wouldn't it? And then all of a sudden, the second trumpet, what do we got? We got, the sea's turning to blood. It's interpreted blood, but it's not really going to be real blood, folks. There's a mountain supposedly going into the sea. And a third of the creatures which are in the sea that had life died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. This is a weird mountain. This stuff's figurative, folks. It's symbolic. It's not really going to turn to blood. I don't care. You can kill everything in the entire sea, and you wouldn't even get a red tint out of the sea. Every creature in the sea could die. You wouldn't even turn the sea at all into blood. At all. It wouldn't even know it even happened. So we're not talking real blood, are we? In wartime, one of the first targets you hit are fuel and oil refineries. If you saw the BP oil spill, you would have seen pictures that it looked like blood, and it did kill the life in the sea. We're forgetting the first. And if I didn't have God tell me every subsequent trumpet was a result of the former and or all result back to the first, I wouldn't have seen it either. I guess I could have thought, well, all these just random events are just happening. They're not just all these just random stuff happening. It's all because of war. When you got nukes coming down, what happens? Besides, you see the effects of it in the first trumpet. Now you see that the military targets taking out the creatures. No wonder the ships are destroyed. Nukes, bombs, folks. That's going to take out the ships. That's going to cause the blood. That's going to cause the creatures in the sea to die. Done. We're done. No other speculation there. Then you got your third trumpet. The Wormwood prophecy, we got some meteorite. Folks, I can show you, if you understand each one of these plagues and events are the result, all the way resulting, everything results back to the first war, you would understand none of these are a meteorite. I don't care if you think it's interpreted that or not. Mountain's interpreted mountain, blood's interpreted blood. But all of a sudden we got a star, the third trumpet. It's a star, aster. Well, that's got to be a real aster. No, it's figurative. There's no meteorite that's going to be coming down so radioactive it's going to make the waters turn bitter. The rivers and the fountains of waters are going to kill men because of a meteorite. No. Because of radiation. Radioactive fallout. That's, folks, you want to do yourself a favor? Get yourself some Seychelles radiation filters. That would save you, will help save you. Everything results back to the former. This is why there's famine. Because you're not going to be, so I hear people, well, we're going to start planting if we need to start planting. We're going to plant in soil that's radioactive? No, you're not. John Paul said what did John Paul say he saw? He said he saw people. He didn't explain it. John, I really wish he had explained things. He just said he saw people turning over concrete roads, trying to get access to the soil beneath the concrete roads because the other soil was tainted. Tainted with what? Concrete will prevent and diminish radiation, even the gamma rays. Depends on how thick the concrete is. So they want access so they can get to the good soil beneath the concrete roads because the other soil you can't plant in. We're just going to have famine. No, we're going to have famine because of war. And as this one prophet saw, the entire East Coast is scorched. I'm giving, like I said, I shouldn't be talking about it yet. I really want you guys to see everything the man has to say, and you're not going to hear it anywhere else. Nope. Or whatever you're going to hear is a bunch of nonsense. We're just already starting famine. We already got famine. Here comes pestilence. Well, it's the coronavirus. No. No. The fourth seal, which labeled death, also referred to as pestilence. Like, let me read it. I want you to hear what I heard. One person misquoted. Apparently, just the fourth seal, this death is going. It's just the pestilence that's going to take out a fourth of the earth. Pestilence, all by pestilence. No, it's a combination. It's an amplification of the previous seals. It's all of it. Though there'll be pestilence there too. But what pestilence caused? Listen. I'm sorry. Might as well read it and let you figure this out. Here is the fourth seal. Verse 8 of chapter 6 of Revelation. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them, not unto him, unto them, over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, which was the second. We're just talking an amplification here, folks. This is over a fourth part of the earth. And power is given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword and with hunger, there's your famine, and with death, pestilence, and with the beasts of the earth. I've heard another same guy basically saying, I don't want to give names. It's always I'm giving names, and these horses are already riding. Supposedly, they're not riding yet. You haven't seen nothing yet. That apparently there's going to be such diseases that are going to be coming from the animals. No, the animals are going to be diseased, all right, but it's not coming from them. It's the consumption of these animals. So we're not going to be able to plant and have our food. We're not going to go out hunting because they're going to be radiated just as well. In fact, it's going to be the consumption of these animals that's going to kill people. This all ties back to war. You understand? It all goes back to war. Everything is the result of the former. And all are the result of the first. And that's what I know via the Holy Spirit and God. And if I didn't, I guess I could probably go with, these are all just a bunch of random events happening. It's going to be a crazy time on earth. Oh, it'll be crazy, all right. But it's all because of war. And we get taken out right before Holocaust. Holocaust. Though when you see America, it's going to look as a Holocaust, the same thing. Very similar. A wasteland. And like I say, when the man said the same words to me, I just, it doesn't matter. I thought, wow. And people don't see that. We don't see that. We just think everything's going to be fine and we got this new world order coming our way. No. No, you got chaos coming your way. You got perilous times coming your way. A time that's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen. And when Holocaust hits, you should look at the vials. People say, well, the people who had the mark of the beast, they got boils on them. Well, that's because the mark changes your DNA. No. It's got nothing to do with that. More radioactive fallout. More radiation burns. I saw that in the spirit one day. I wasn't even thinking about anything. All of a sudden, I'm looking at the boils, and I got sick. I felt sick. I will show you, folks, from the government. I'll give you a website where it shows a little video of people who survived Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'll put it down there. I don't recommend anybody really watch it, but I want you to understand. This is all the effects of war. It's not the chip out there that we're already using anyway in some places, altering people's DNA. It's nuclear holocaust that creates the boils. Men wishing they could die and can't. It's just all war. And we keep ignoring that. And so we're looking for the coronavirus. There'll probably be viruses. Isn't there always viruses? Last one was SARS. And we all go, I don't know, folks, there's all these different, the bird flu. I don't know what's out there half the time. Sure, there's going to be viruses, but it has nothing to do with biblical references. But we're just selling books left and right and saying the Wormwood prophecy is going to happen. A meteor is going to be so radiated, it's going to poison our rivers and the waters, and men are going to die because they're drinking the waters from the river. Oh, it's not nothing to do with that. It's radiated water. We just need to look to the very first thing that happens, and peace is stripped from the entire planet. Okay, I went too long. I just wanted you folks to have some things that I want people to understand what's really going to happen. And I want you to have truth. Look for more to come. Until next time, take care and God bless.